Hi, welcome to class. Chef Roger. We're about to learn how to make some crepes. Crepes are those very, very thin little pancakes. To make those, I'm going to use 500 grams of milk, 250 grams of flour, 3 eggs, 2 grams of salt, 40 grams of sugar, and 40 grams of butter. About the sugar, it's optional. If you are going to use the crepe for a savory dish, I will skip the sugar, you don't need it. So how do we make those crepes? It's very simple. Here I have my sifted flour. Very important to sift your flour. I'm going to create a little well into that. I'm going to put my other dry ingredients, the salt and the sugar. Okay. Now I'm going to add my eggs to that little well. And I'm going to stir delicately, mixing the egg and the flour together slowly. Then I will add the milk and let it rest for a good 20 to 30 minutes. And then I will add to it some melted butter. I will strain everything to a china cup to make sure if there's any lumps in it, they get removed. And they'll be ready to be cooked. So here I'm developing a nice little paste. I'm going to add my milk to that. So I add everything. Now I slowly going to incorporate all those ingredients together. Why do you want to let it rest? It's very simple. If you don't let it rest, your crepe's going to be a little gummy. You know, so to make them as thin as possible and as light as possible, we want to let that dough rest. Because as you work it, and there's flour, so there's like a gluten development that occurs, and you just want to let it rest a little bit, just to have a lighter product. Now, if you're in a rush, you could make them and they're still pretty good. It's not as good, but it's still very good. Those crepes, you could use them for many different preparations. Could be savory or sweet. If it's sweet, you know, a great way to have them is with some Nutella inside, or just some sugar that you drizzle on top of it, some jams. I mean, there's a lot you can do. And there's a lot you can do with savory crepes too. Could be you could make a little bechamel sauce, put that into your crepe with some mushroom, little pieces of bacon, or you could make tomato sauce, crack an egg inside, fold it, put it into your oven too for 3-4 minutes, and you have a very nice dish too. So there's a lot you can do with those crepes. Me, I'm going to make some crepe soufflé. You know, soufflé? Well, I'm going to do a soufflé inside one of those crepes. I'm also going to use some for a beef Wellington that I'm making. Okay, so that's well mixed. Again, I'm going to let that rest at that point. I see it's not lumpy at all. It's nice and smooth. So we let it rest in the fridge 30 minutes. Then we add our melted butter to it. I do not want to add the melted butter to it now because as it's set in the fridge, the butter is just going to seize into it and solidify it, which we don't want. So we add it last when it's time to make the crepes. So the crepe butter just came out of the fridge. It's been rested for 30 minutes. I'm going to do my butter now. I'm going to take it, put it onto my little burner here, and I'm going to let it melt. I'm going to actually let it brown slightly, which gives a nice flavor to the crepes. And it helps also to give them a nice color as they cook. So I'm going to do a light brown butter, as I could say. Not too brown, huh? Just a little brown. Then I have a china cup here. I'm going to strain everything again to make sure there's no lumps into that. Okay, so you can see there's a tiny bit of brownness here. No more than that. So now I'm going to let the butter cool down for a couple minutes, and then I will add it to my butter here. If I add it right away when it's very hot, I'm going to cook the crepe butter, and you don't want to do that. So we let it cool down a couple minutes, and then we add it to it. So my butter cooled down. I'm going to add that to the butter. Stir that in. So the butter has been incorporated into the dough. I'm now going to strain all that here. Strain that this way. And with my ladle, I'm going to push everything through it. So we're going to cook our crepes now. If you have a nice of those black steel crepe pan, those are really the best to cook your crepes. Now on an induction burner, that wouldn't work, so I'm going to use that stainless steel saute pan here. A non-stick pan will work well also if you prefer, but if you let the pan heat up well enough, those work pretty good. Non-stick pan do not retain the heat very well, so to cook crepes, it's not the best, because as you cook your crepes, you want to give them a little color, and with a non-stick, it doesn't really happen well. So I would just suggest using a stainless steel pan. That works well. Here I have a little bit of oil. It could be melted butter too. I'm using oil. And I'm going to make sure I put some oil over my pan here. I don't want to put too much oil. If you put too much oil, when it's time to swirl the crepe to make it, disperse itself, it's not going to work well at all. You're going to create a thick part of the crepe into the pan. So make sure you don't put too much. Just a little bit is all that you need. And very important, the pan needs to be very, very hot. Okay, so the pan is smoking hot. I'm going to add my butter to it. Up, and here we go. We swirl it well. Make sure that the butter goes everywhere. Now I'm going to get a nice little color here. Nice and brown. Okay, so the crepe has a nice color on the other side. Yes, now we're going to try to flip it. So to be able to flip it, the saute pan needs to be very hot. If not, it's not going to flip well. So I flip my crepe over. I'm going to let it get another nice color on the other side. And that'll be ready. We have a beautiful little crepe here. So I take it out, put it on my plate. Now I'm going to let it read very well too. Now I'm going to do another one. On my saute pan again. Okay, and now I'm going to add that to my saute pan. As I add it, again I make sure I swirl the pan and make sure it covers everywhere here, so I have a very, very thin crepe. That's very important. Okay, time to flip it. Woo! Nice. Cool, huh? I'm going to let it get a nice color on the other side too. That'll be good. Now you want to make sure you have a nice little color on both sides. Gonna flip again? Yes. And again? Yes. Hop, hop. Pretty cool. Love it. Love making crepes. It's funny. It tastes good. It's very cheap. And there's so much you can do with those. Okay, that one is ready. I'll take it. Now see the flip again? Allez, hop. Take this and put it here. Last one as a demo. And then you try them. You let me know how they came out. Let your kids make them if you have kids. They will love it. It's a nice little project. Make sure you let the saute pan reheat itself between each crepes. It's very important. Okay, so the pan is nice and hot. Again, put the butter into the ladle, bring it to the pan. As you let it drip, you are swirling the pan to make sure you cover the entire surface of your sauté pan. This one is a little thick. I should have put a little less butter here. The less you put, the better they are. Okay. You see how the crepes swirl well, move nicely in the pan. Up, we flip. And here we have it. I really hope you enjoyed that quick class. Let me know if you did. Next class will be on how to make a papillote. I'm going to do a fish in a bag, cooked in a bag. It's a beautiful little dish here that I'm going to do. So I really hope you sneak into class for that. Now, if you're not comfortable flipping, you take a spatula, you go around, you move it like that, and you can flip it. It works well too. Are we ready to flip it? I think it's ready. Yes, it did flip. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that quick demo on how to make some nice crepes. Press the like button if you liked it. And subscribe. Thank you. Bye-bye.